Hello everybody. This is going to be start of a new informative series for the Tesla Model S. It was a viewer request, actually, a single viewer really got the main request in, and then I got a few other requests for similar information. So I thought, what the heck? So this is going to start the video series Tesla Model S Explained. And to kick off this little mini-series, we're going to be doing energy usage and consumption. How do you calculate it? How much does it cost you to operate the vehicle? And what is a kilowatt and kilowatt hour? So on and so forth. Now, I doubt this redo is going to be as good as my first one did. My first one was almost an hour long of non-stop information and fun. However, while transferring the video to my computer, Crash Plan backup decided to kick in and somehow told my computer that it was done copying, and my computer went and deleted the video off my iPhone. That really sucked, and I'm extraordinarily pissed off. So, we're going to start with some basics here. Hopefully you can read my screens. It should have kicked into day mode by now, but probably because it's raining out, there's still a night mode, a little harder to see. Of course, we have our energy consumption graph there on the 17-inch touchscreen. You can also have that same little graph miniaturized and have it on your dash to the right of the speedometer. And then we also have trip meter, which I keep the trip meter on my dash instead of the energy graph. I like the energy graph on the big screen there. And of course, you'll be able to see when people are tailgating me, as we will be going through morning rush hour traffic. For starters, the Model S consumes. Oh, there we go. I was waiting for that. The Model S, due to its high energy consumption, consumes kilowatt hours and kilowatts. Let's see. Yes. Like I said, I did this all yesterday, and it almost seems like trying to go backwards now is like I've already explained it, and I'm trying to remember what I already explained, which now, since I'm redoing the video, is nothing. So we're starting from scratch. So I guess, what is the difference between a kilowatt hour and a kilowatt? Well, a kilowatt hour is a measure of energy. A kilowatt hour. Oh, damn camera. There we go. A kilowatt is a measure of power. And let's see how I can explain this. Energy would be the measure of how much fuel is contained within something or used by something over a set period of time. So a kilowatt hour, which explains it right there for you, is a measure of power consumption over the period of 1 hour. Let's see if it'll let me merge in here. Yep. I will say that the Tesla Model S is an accident magnet. Never have I had so many close calls. I don't know if it's due to people just trying to get a good look at a Model S, or if it's just people who think that a Model S driver is just going to be a rich, stuck-up asshole it's going to drive like shit. I think it's a mixture of both. Okay, so back to it. A kilowatt, which is a measure of power. Power is the rate at which the energy is generated or used in a specific unit of time. So a kilowatt, or broken down, a watt, is actually watts used per second per hour. So you got yourself a 100-watt light bulb. That white light bulb is using 100 watts per second per hour, which is so that's how much its draw, its demand is 100 watts. Now, to calculate how much total energy it's using, you take how much that bulb is drawing over the course of 1 hour. So in this case, 100 watts. And that's how many watts per hour you are using. So, like I said, 100 watts. Due to no one using less than 1,000 watts per month, except in very rare cases, you are generally billed by the kilowatt hour, which is how many kilowatts you would be using in a single hour. So you got that 100-watt light bulb. If that light bulb was on for 10 hours, you have just consumed 1 kilowatt, which is what your power company is billing you by. So that 1 kilowatt, so that means you run that 100-watt light bulb for 10 hours, and it would cost you, national average is about 13 cents a kilowatt hour. My time of use for nighttime usage would be 5 cents a kilowatt hour. See where I'm going with this? So, like I said, kilowatt is 1,000 watts, and a kilowatt hour is the measure of those watts over the period of 1 hour, or condensed kilowatt hour. So 1,000 watts you measure as a kilowatt hour. Let's see if we can maybe simplify this. Watts, or energy burned per second. Simply put, think of it this way: you're driving. Watts is the speed you're driving. Watt hours is the total energy you used driving your entire drive while driving at that specific speed. So now you're going to want to figure out how to calculate your car. How much power are you consuming? Well, besides the fact that the car will tell you, I've driven 22.5 miles and I've used 6.6 kilowatt hours, and I used 295 watt hours per mile. Doesn't quite break it down yet in that sense. So you probably can't see my consumption bar on the next to the speedometer here. I gotta move over. There we go. That lane's always, right lane's always slow when getting to this on-ramp. Now the Tesla Model S has a live consumption meter that shows you how much you are drawing at that exact second. It turns orange for consumed, turns green for regenerate. Now, for those that aren't quite as familiar with electric vehicles, consumed means power I'm taking out of the battery pack and using for motion, so driving the car. Green, or regeneration, is power that I'm taking from the motion of the car using the motor, the electric motor of the vehicle, three-phase induction motor, to generate that electricity and put that electricity back into the battery, using the motor and the drag from that generation to slow the vehicle down. On your standard internal combustion cars, how you'd be slowing down is the use of friction braking. or your disc or drum brakes on the car. While the Tesla Model S does have that for more aggressive stopping, I rarely use them. I have only used them twice now in 23.3 miles, which includes city driving. So on your internal combustion vehicle, all that gasoline you used to make your vehicle go forward or reverse, depending on how you're driving, to stop your vehicle, all that extra energy wasted is wasted through heat dissipated through your braking system, friction braking. Whereas on the Tesla Model S, it attempts to use as much of that braking power as possible to put back into your battery. And it doesn't seem like much, but given the life or your total charge, so say I'm charged up to 200 miles, I can get an extra 15-20 miles out of my battery and stop and go driving just from that regenerative braking instead of throwing all that energy away. Back to consumption. Alright, so right now I am consuming 15 kilowatts. Keyword watts, not watt hours, watts. That is how much I am consuming at the second with the demand. Think of it like your 1,000-watt toaster. You turn it on, the demand that toaster has to do its job is 1,000 watts. Obviously, electric car has got to be variable because you are varying your speed. It's not like a toaster where you hit the button and that's it. It turns on, gets hot, stays hot, and then shuts off. The electric car has to be able to do 0, 1, 2, 3, 20, 30, 40, 100, 110, 120, 130 miles per hour. If it just turned itself on, it would just keep going and going and going until the vehicle either hit something, ran out of power, or the motor self-destructs due to the RPMs. So, your power usage varies. Right now, I'm drawing about 20 kilowatts, dropping down to regenerating 15 kilowatts. You can see how that regenerative braking can come in handy. I haven't had to touch the brake. Now, to calculate how much you're using, say the vehicle is cruising along and consuming 10 kilowatts. Now, that 10 kilowatts, if you maintain that for 1 hour, you have just consumed 10 kilowatt hours. So in other words, kilowatt hours, that's what you're getting billed at by your utility. So you take 10 kilowatt hours. Now my time of use electrical rates that I charge up at is 5 cents a kilowatt hour. So that would be 50 cents to drive for 1 hour at exactly 10 kilowatts. Or, yeah, 10 kilowatt power consumption. And the car can consume up to 240 kilowatts, although not for a very long period of time. Hold on, moving over, because at this point, the left lane should be much quicker than the others. But it's raining, people drive like crap, and there's probably 3 or 4 accidents up ahead. So, say I'm drawing, 100 kilowatt, which the vehicle doesn't ever need to sustain that. Maximum speed of the car is about 125, and at 125, I'm drawing less than 60 kilowatts to maintain speed. But your acceleration, that's where you get the peaks on your energy meter. Peaks are consumption. That's say accelerating. You're going to draw more during acceleration to get you up to your speed than you need to maintain your speed. It's getting humid out with all this rain. The air was getting way too dry. Where was I? So say you're drawing 100 kilowatts for an hour. That's 100 kilowatt hours your vehicle for. Now it's bigger than any EV any battery pack on the market at this moment. So at the moment you don't have to worry about consuming that much. It'll only take you about 40 minutes to completely drain a 60 kilowatt battery pack. Maybe 35 if you were continuously drawing 100 kilowatts. Maybe if you were at a track, but general daily driving, it ain't gonna happen. Now, let's go back to our consumption. This is our trip meter. So, the car has factored in all my consumption, second by second, current draw, all that, so on and so forth. Right now I'm wavering between 15 and 30. Now we're going up to 60 kilowatt, because I got to accelerate from about 40 up to, I want to get up to 60 miles an hour. And it looks like I won't be able to do that. 55. So let's just lock it in at 54 miles an hour. Yeah, we're drawing about 30 kilowatts to maintain 54 miles per hour on an uphill. Going downhill, it's dropping down. We might even see a little regen on the downhill. Nope, not quite. Drawing about 2 kilowatts now. Anyways, the car takes into consideration all power consumed, and it calculates that out, as it'd be very difficult to do that while that bar is going up and down constantly while you're driving. The human brain just wouldn't be able to calculate that. So the car does it for us. I've now consumed 7.9 kilowatts, over again, for 26.8 miles of driving. And we also got another important number, watt-hours per mile. Watt-hours per mile, think of it as your mile per gallon meter that you might have seen on your old internal combustion engine vehicle. That's letting me know what my total consumption of energy is. So that would be the same as for each mile of travel that I'm going to at 295 watt hours a mile. Think of it like turning on a 295 watt light bulb for 1 hour. How much energy that light bulb uses for 1 hour is enough to propel my vehicle and me 1 mile. Went up a little bit. You'll see it'll go up, go down. I use trip meter A on a monthly basis to get an idea of how much I've consumed over the course of a month or billing cycle for me. Then B trip meter is what I use to determine over the life of the vehicle. And so far I've had it was delivered to me with 13 miles on it, and yesterday we hit 14,000. So I've actually got 14,043 miles on the vehicle, and it was reset before being delivered to me. So I'm 13 miles short on my lifetime. 13 miles isn't going to make a big difference over the course of the life of the vehicle. But since I got the car, I've used 4,246 megawatts, or excuse me, kilowatts, which would be 4.246 megawatts. A megawatt is 1 million watts. A kilowatt is 1,000 watts. So, I know I have been charging at other places other than my home. Free, some pay. Not too many pay places. Mostly free charging stations. Namely the Sandrick Resort in the Wisconsin Dells, the only charging location within about 60 miles of Wisconsin's biggest tourist location. That semi-jackknifed. We took out a Nissan Sentra. Ouch. Hope everybody's okay. So, now if I was only charging at home, let's see, it's 4,246.2 kilowatts. We're up to now. And then we multiply that by my electrical rates, which is 5 cents a kilowatt. It's actually 4.8, but once you factor in your meter fees, taxes, and everything. It's rounded out to about 5 cents. Now to travel, mind you, this was if I was strictly charging at home at my time of use, and that's the only time I charge at home is on my time of use. I never charge during peak. Only once have I did that, and that was to get an extra 5 or 6 miles just to be on the safe side for a drive I was doing. I used $212.31 worth of electricity to travel 14,032.4 miles. That ain't bad. Let's see, how much would that have cost in my old compact car, Nissan Cube? Let's see, 1432.6 divided by 30 miles per gallon. I don't think I'm doing this right. Times. Well, the average gas price has been about $4 a gallon up until just this week. Gas prices seem to drop down to about $3.20 right now. But since I got this car, the average price has been about $3.75 to $4 a gallon. So I'm just going to put $4 a gallon, since that's when most of my hardcore driving was. I definitely did not do this right. Oh, I only put 1,000. I put the kilowatt hours. Never mind, I left out numbers. 14,033. 14,033 miles. I left out the zero. I knew I wasn't doing something right. Divided by 30 miles per gallon. 467.7 gallons of gasoline I would have used in my Nissan Cube, which I also have my truck that I drive as well. So it would have actually been higher. Now we multiply that by an average of $4 per gallon, $1,871 just in gas if I used a Nissan Cube. If I used my Nissan Xterra, divided by 16 miles per gallon, 877 gallons times $4 a gallon, $3,508 in gasoline. And like I said, I used about $220 in electricity. Even less if I factor in all the times I charge at free stations, or at free stations. I'd probably say I'm more down to $130, $140 in electric than I used if I charged at free stations. Factor in the free stations. Not bad at all. And of course, it's always nice to know on a daily basis how much I use. And with using AAA on a monthly basis, helps me keep track how much my electric bill is going to be. I already know a pretty good baseline what my bill is going to be just with my home's regular usage. But once I factor in, I can get a rough idea. I'm only 6 days into the billing cycle, and it's 163 kilowatt hours. Excuse me, I almost made a newbie mistake. Kilowatt hours are different. A lot of people interchange. Now batteries are rated in kilowatts, so I am using the 60 kilowatt battery pack in my car. It means it contains 60 kilowatts, the unit of measure, 60 kilowatts. I screwed that up. Kilowatt hours. Scratch that. I gotta look up again exactly what term they use to measure the battery pack. I'm confusing myself. It's way too early in the morning. It's freaking 8:20 in the morning. I miss being able to sleep till 9. Instead, I'm up at 5, 6 a.m. It sucks. Oh. Let's see what other notes I might have. Yeah, already went over all that. Man, I did this video so much better yesterday. And you guys even got to see a foggy shot of Lake Michigan from South Milwaukee Beach. Damn, I'm so pissed off my computer wiped that video out. I had right-clicked and dragged and selected move to move it to the desktop of my computer. And as it was doing that, got about halfway through, and Crash Plan Backup kicked in, and somehow that interrupted the transfer. Made my computer think that the file was already completely transferred. So then, since I selected move instead of copy, it went back and deleted the video off the iPhone. That really, really, really sucked. And there goes the camera. Yes, I will come up with a better way of securing the camera than a loose tripod sitting in the back of my car for future videos. Almost home. When I get a little closer to home, I will be more than happy to grab the camera off the tripod and give some people a look at the actual consumption meter on the dash. The live one shows regen and consumption. Let's see, what am I forgetting? Oh, charging the car. Now, of course, there's many different adapters, plug styles that you can use to charge the car. Generally, you're going to use the adapters based on what voltage the outlet that you're going to be plugging in is. I'm going to skip talking about the public stations for now. That's in another video. But there's adapters for like the NEMA 1450, which is a 50 amp outlet, but technically you can only draw 40 amps since you can only draw about 80% of a receptacle or a circuit's maximum low power for continued use. There's the 1430, 30 amp outlet. You can draw about 24 amps out of that one. There are your standard 15 amp home outlets. There's 20 amp home outlet, 120 volt outlets. Now, but the most commonly used for the Tesla is a 1450. It's cheap to have installed, and it's able to give the standard single onboard charger the maximum amount of power it can consume. The standard onboard charger can draw up to 10 kilowatts. So that means when you plug your car in, and if you have your charge rate, it's blacked out because I'm in motion, you have your charge rate set at 40 amps, which is the maximum you're able to draw on that circuit, and you have the ideal voltage of about 250 volts. Now there will be some voltage drops, so you'll actually lose some of the draw. Lower the voltages, the less power you can draw from that circuit. Yet the amperage will still stay the same. So at 250 volts, 40 amps, you're going to be able to draw about 10 kilowatts of power. So let me check my numbers on that. Volts times amps equals watts. Yep. 250 volts is 10 kilowatts. So that means every hour of charging for your Model S is costing you, you're being billed 10 kilowatt hours for every hour that you are charging a Model S at 40 amp on a 250 volt circuit. So to find the cost of that, you take that 10 kilowatts times how much you're billed. So in my case, 5 cents per kilowatt hour, which would come to 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. I hope you all got your fingers out so you can count with me. So that was 50 cents per hour to charge the car at full charging speed, power, voltage. It's rare you're going to actually get 250 volts, especially when under a load like that, as there will be voltage drop in your power lines. From the transformer, a friend of mine who has a solar setup, I put a 1450 outlet in his garage for him, and he has a solar setup and a beefy transformer right on the pole outside his house, all to himself, to handle the amount of currents and whatnot, so on, blah blah blah. I think his was the highest I've seen in a residential setup. I think we got about 249, 250 volts with no load, but once the car started charging, I think we dropped down to about 240. I know at my home, there's about 15 homes on my transformer, and I'm about a block away from my transformer, and I'm at the very end of it, which really sucks because I get the most voltage drop. So I charge a little slower. Doesn't matter. When I get home at night, I plug the car in. In the morning, it's full. So let's see. Now, when my car is, just going for a little drive for you guys now. When my car is charging at the full 40 amps, voltage drops down to about 228. So 228 volts times 40 amps. Oh, those people got a porta potty in their yard. Cool. I always wanted my own porta potty. Shove some cherry bombs down the stack. I'm actually drawing 9,120 watts. So to find out what I'm getting billed per hour, usage per hour is, so I take that 9,120 watts times 5 cents, $4 and 45.6 cents, so rounded up 46 cents per hour instead of 50 cents per hour. So over the course of an hour, I draw about 800 and I forgot the number. About 875 watts less per hour than if I was at 150 volts. So I am charging a bit slower. Ooh, cool, cops. Smile, you're on candid camera. Teenagers. Hey, why aren't they in school? Dang whippersnappers. Damn kids nowadays out never want to go to school and they want to do nothing. Damn right, my kids going to school. So yeah, I charge a little bit slower. I know the Sandrift, which is that business up in the Dells, Wisconsin, Midwest, and the Midwest biggest tourist area, where I charge there, less voltage drop, as they have a fairly nice sized transformer for their resort. The resort alone's got, let's see, 2, 4, 6, about 1,200 amp service over 4 different total 4 meters. So each meter's got 2, 4, 6, 8. So 8. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 800 amp service. And they rarely use it all, except on the hottest days of summer. It's a little hard at first getting a spot to plug in, to install the 1450 outlet. I can actually put a second one in, as there's a little separated beach house, a rental beach house, and the beach house has 200 amp service upgraded, but most it's ever done was about 75 amps. It's a small little thing, 2-bedroom. Oh yeah, we're home. I'm sure my little guys are still sleeping. Gotta love that backup camera. Never realize how much you miss having a backup camera until you drive someone else's pile of shit and that doesn't have it for a day. Almost thought I was gonna die. So apparently my camera slash iPhone ran out of memory as I was talking while sitting in the driveway this morning. So I am going to try and remember where I left off. I'm not doing very good at recording this long video, am I? But anyways, I believe I was talking about the consumption, how to calculate how much a charge is going to cost you, and how much the different voltages during charging can affect your charging time. I'm not going through all that again for a third time. So, long story short, the Tesla Model S single charger using a NEMA 14-50 adapter at 250 volts, 40 amps, its maximum, will draw 10 kilowatts. Now, since nothing actually, you always get voltage drop, especially the longer the cabling is, the more voltage drop you will have. So, you rarely see somebody sustain 250 volts unless they have a nice, fat, hefty transformer all to themselves. Now, when I'm charging at home, at the full 40 amps, I usually get the voltage drop. I usually start out around 140, and it drops down to about 240, and it drops down to about 228 volts at the full 40 amp charging. Now, at without my calculator, at the 228 volts, 40 amps, I'm drawing about 9,100. I think it was like 9,033, something around 9,100 kilowatts. And then when I'm at the Sandrift Resort in the Wisconsin Dells charging up, because they are a business, they have a big ass honking transformer all to themselves. Although the resort does draw a considerable load. They have 800 amps worth of service coming in, and most of that's fairly tapped out. I usually have voltage drop down to about 239 to 240-ish. I forgot exactly what that would calculate out to, but it will make a difference. While you still may be drawing 40 amps, the lower voltage will not allow as many kilowatts to pass through the line. The amperage is kind of like the resistance in the line. So, you get heat buildup, you get resistance in the line. It calculates out to volts times amps equals watts, or in our case, kilowatts. Hold on, gotta make a phone call. So, volts times amps equals watts. Yeah, come on out. I'm just picking up my niece and sister-in-law. Oh, we got Meatball back there. Say hi! That's my tripod operator. Say hi!
No.
No? Okay. So, since regardless of the voltage, you can only draw so many amps through a certain size conductor. Now in my case, with the NEMA 1450, that's a 50 amp outlet, rated at a sustained current for a long term, not just burst load like a refrigerator would be or something like that. A sustained load maximum would be 40 amps. So that's why the NEMA 1450 is limited to 40 amps. So now regardless, even if I were to convert that NEMA 1450 to 120 volts instead of the 240, the most you're going to draw from it is 40 amps. Because now you're also having the amount of current you can get through that line. So instead of being able to get at 250 volts and 40 amps, instead of getting 10 kilowatts, you're only going to get 5 kilowatts. So that's why higher voltages are better, especially in high amperage or high wattage devices. Now, charging your car would be one of those. Running your toaster probably wouldn't. Now, the rest of the world, for the most part, uses 240 volts as a standard home power. There's the little midget Kateers. Both of them, actually. Now, the higher voltage is a little less safe if you were to stick your finger in that outlet, as it can break through the resistance of your skin, but generally we're not sticking fingers in an outlet. I'm perfectly happy with 120 volt home outlets. That's what I grew up with. But for charging your car, charging on a 120 volt 40 amp would take twice as long as charging on a 240 volt 40 amp. So that's why we have our 240 outlets for charging our cars. I completely went off track, didn't I? I think that's going to be it for this video. I gotta put my thoughts together and come up with something else. You can sit in the front, Dan.
Okay.
There'll be more parts to this. I'll actually go through on a piece of paper, write out calculations and whatnot. And that'll be the next part in the Tesla Model S explained. Oh, and I'll go over the actual energy meter and show it in operation. And as always, keep requests coming, comments. If I have any misinformation, don't hesitate to correct me. And see you guys next video.